Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for standing by for Li Auto's fourth quarter and full year of 2020 earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are in listen-only mode. Today's conference call is being recorded. I will now turn the call over to your host, Janet Chang, Director of Investor Relations of the company. Please go ahead, Janet.
Thank you, Annie. Good evening and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Li Auto's fourth quarter and full year 2020 earnings conference call. The company's financial and operating results were published in the press release earlier today and were posted on the company's IR website. On today's call, we have our President, Mr. Kevin Yanan Shen, our CFO, Mr. Johnny Tie Li, and our CTO, Mr. Kai Wang, to begin with prepared remarks. Our founder and CEO, Mr. Xiang Li, will join for the Q&A discussion. Before we continue, please be reminded that today's discussion will contain forward-looking statements made under the Safe Harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. As such, the company's actual results may be materially different from the views expressed today. Further information regarding risks and uncertainties is included in certain filings of the company with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The company does not assume any obligation to update any forward-looking statements except as required under applicable law. Please also note that Li Auto's earnings press release and this conference call include discussions of unaudited GAAP financial information as well as unaudited non-GAAP financial measures. Please refer to Li Auto's press release, which contains a reconciliation of the unaudited non-GAAP measures to comparable GAAP measures. With that, I will now turn the call over to our President. Please go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you, Janet. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our call today. The fourth quarter capped off a year of significant growth and robust financial results for our company. Our team's strong execution yielded record fourth quarter results that comfortably beat our outlook. We delivered 14,464 Li Ones in the fourth quarter, up 67% quarter-over-quarter. Our robust deliveries drove revenue growth of 65.2% compared with the third quarter, reaching RMB 4.15 billion. With 32,624 vehicles delivered to our users in 2020, Li One was the best-selling new energy SUV of the year in China, a testament to its highly competitive product features. This outstanding performance was fueled by strong demand driven by our distinctive product offering and the superior user experience, and made possible by our focused product strategy and our ability to rapidly scale up a consistent and high-quality manufacturing process to meet demand. We believe that evolving consumer preferences for smart electric vehicles together with advancing technologies will continue to be tailwinds for our long-term sales growth. Taking into consideration of seasonality and the impact of COVID-19 in Northern China, we expect our first quarter deliveries to be between 10,500 to 11,500 units. On the profitability side, our gross margin remained robust at 17.5% in the fourth quarter, reflecting our manufacturing efficiency and the disciplined cost management approach. Most notably, we achieved a record high operating cash flow of RMB 1.82 billion, nearly doubled from the third quarter, and raised $1.53 billion in proceeds through our successful follow-on offering, setting a solid financial foundation as we increase investment for autonomous driving technology and a BEV platform to drive our future growth. We remain committed to proactively serving our users by anticipating their needs. And as a response to the increased demand for our vehicles, we have steadily expanded our direct sales and servicing network. As of January 31st, 2021, we had 60 retail stores covering 47 cities and 121 servicing centers, and also authorized the body and paint shops operating in 89 cities. We will continue to broaden and deepen city coverage to address increasing demand from prospective users across China and prepare ourselves for the new model launches in 2022 and beyond. At the same time, we strive to continue strengthening our digital systems to integrate and connect all the stages of the sales and servicing processes to maintain a high level of sales efficiency. As a user-driven automotive and technology company, we always prioritize our users' comfort and safety. We are very proud of the outstanding safety rating results of our Li One achieved. Li One was awarded the highest safety rating in 3 out of the 4 China Insurance Automotive Safety Index evaluation categories in January, 5-star ratings in China Automobile Health Index assessment, and a 5-star China New Car Assessment Program safety ratings in February, make it the only large premium SUV model that has received top scores in all 3 index programs. We aim to make Li One best in class and believe that iteration is necessary for groundbreaking innovation. We constantly collect feedbacks and suggestions from our users through our app and also our customer service centers to provide updates through FOTA. By doing so, not only we delivered more value-added products and services, but also nurture a long-term relationship with our users, which will be very helpful to enhance the value in the long run. Since the start of the delivery in December 2019, we have released 13 major vehicle over-the-air upgrades. On December 26, 2020, our delivered software version 2.0 through OTA updates, bringing 12 new features such as front vehicle smart alert, adaptive cruise speed, dashboard camera playback, multiple user setting, and also updated co-pilot entertainment system. Plus, another 12 enhanced functions, including new interfaces for the dashboard, touchscreen control panel, and also updated applications such as navigation map. As of February 18th, we had users in 328 cities across China, with cumulative mileage exceeding 330 million kilometers. 97.1% of users expressed satisfaction with Li One in the survey we conducted in January 2021, and were willing to recommend Li One to their friends. As always, we are grateful for the consistent support and trust from our users. Looking forward, we will accelerate the development of second-generation extended range platform, and also the high-voltage BEV technologies in order to enrich our model mix to cater to the needs of a wider range of users, while adhering to our brand positioning of premium smart electric vehicle. All of these efforts are aiming at maximizing the value proposition for our users. We are planning on the reconfiguration of our state-of-the-art Changzhou factory for our new model pipeline, especially the full-size premium SUV based on brand new architecture to be launched in 2022. With the establishment of our Shanghai R&D Center, we are also expediting our R&D effort across the board. Having successfully completed the first phase of our strategic cycle and entered the second stage this year, we will continue racing ahead towards our mission, creating homes on the move that bring happiness to the entire family. With that, I would like to turn it over to our CTO, Mr. Kai Wang, for a closer review of our R&D efforts. Please go ahead, Kai.
Thank you, Kevin. Hello, everyone. Let me share with you the progress we have made on R&D since the last earnings call. We are on course with our brand new architectures for the full-size premium electric SUV to be launched in 2022. It features a scalable and hardware upgradable ECU and sensor set, enabling more use cases via OTA. In particular, we are collaborating closely with NVIDIA and Desay SV to equip our next model with the powerful NVIDIA Orin SoC chipset. With scalable setup, we could expand our vehicle's overall computing power up to 2,000 TOPS. Along with our complete in-house algorithm and closed-loop data environment, we can progressively reach level 4 autonomous driving. The project goes well and everything is on track. One of the priorities for me as CTO is to attract brilliant scientists, researchers, and engineers to join our team to develop cutting-edge smart electrical vehicle technologies as we aim to bring world-changing innovations to people's everyday lives. We are excited to kick off 2021 with announcement of our new R&D center in Shanghai, dedicated to the development of cutting-edge electric vehicle technologies such as high voltage platforms and ultra-fast charging technologies. This R&D center will have end-to-end development capabilities for new models. We chose Shanghai as the location due to the abundant availability of top-notch talents with expertise in smart vehicles in and around the city, alongside a rich supply chain. Its establishment will not only accelerate our new model launches and the development of smart vehicle technologies, but also our recruiting efforts. Recruiting at R&D Center has already started. We will ultimately build a team of over 2,000 staffs. In meanwhile, we are establishing collaborations with top universities and research institutes in China. More updates will be released in future. Now, I will turn this call over to our CFO, Mr. Tie Li, to review our financial performance in the fourth quarter.
Thank you, Kai. Hello, everyone. I will now go over some of our financial results for the fourth quarter of 2020. To be mindful of the length of this call, I will address financial highlights here and encourage you to refer to our earnings press release, which is posted online for additional details. Please note that the currencies mentioned below are RMB. Total revenue in the fourth quarter of 2020 were 4.15 billion, representing an increase of 65.2% from 2.51 billion in the third quarter of 2020. This included 4.06 billion of vehicle sales in the fourth quarter of 2020, representing an increase of 64.6% from the third quarter. The increase in vehicle sales was mainly due to 67 increase in vehicle deliveries to 14,464 vehicles in the fourth quarter of 2020, from 8,660 vehicles in the third quarter of 2020. Revenues from other sales and services were 89.2 million in the fourth quarter of 2020, representing an increase of 93.5% from the third quarter. The increase in revenues from other sales and services was in line with the increased vehicle sales and the increased number of vehicles using our services. Cost of sales in the fourth quarter was 3.42 billion, representing an increase of 70.1% from the third quarter. Vehicle margin in the fourth quarter was 17.1%, comparing to 19.8% in the third quarter of 2020. The decrease was primarily due to the decreased one-time rebate from suppliers compared with third quarter of 2020. Gross margin in the fourth quarter was 17.5%, compared to 19.8% in the third quarter, which was mainly driven by the change in vehicle margin. Total operating expenses in the fourth quarter were 803.5 million, representing an increase of 18.7% from 676.7 million in the third quarter of 2020. Research and development expenses in the fourth quarter of 2020 were 374.2 million, representing an increase of 11.9% from 334.5 million in the third quarter of 2020. Excluding share-based compensation expenses, non-GAAP research and development expenses were 369.1 million, representing a quarter-over-quarter increase of 32.4%. The increase in research and development expenses was primarily attributable to increased research and development activities for the company's next vehicle model and increased headcount, offset by the significant decrease in share-based compensation expenses over the third quarter, in which period higher cumulative share-based compensation expenses were recognized related to the stock option granted to employees with service conditions and the performance conditions related to the IPO. Selling, general and administrative expenses in the fourth quarter of 2020 were 429.3 million, excluding share-based compensation expenses. Non-GAAP selling, general and administrative expenses were 426.8 million, representing an increase of 61.5%. The increase in selling, general and administrative expenses was primarily driven by the increased marketing and promotional activities and increased headcount, offset by the significant decrease in share-based compensation expenses over the third quarter of 2020, in which period higher cumulative share-based compensation expenses were recognized related to the stock options granted to employees with service conditions and the performance conditions related to the IPO. losses from operations in the fourth quarter of 2020 was 78.9 million, decreasing by 56.2% compared to a loss of 180 million in the third quarter. Excluding share-based compensation expenses, the non-GAAP loss from operations was 71.1 million, increasing by 58% from the third quarter of 2020. Net income was 107.5 million in the fourth quarter of 2020, compared to 106.9 million net loss in the third quarter of 2020. Non-GAAP net income was 115.4 million in the fourth quarter, representing an increase of 621.3% from 16 million in the third quarter of 2020. Now turning to our balance sheet and cash flow. Our cash and cash equivalents, restricted cash, time deposits, and short-term investments totaled 29.87 billion as of December 31st, 2020. Operating cash flow in the fourth quarter of 2020 was 1.82 billion, nearly doubled from 929.8 million in the third quarter of 2020. Free cash flow was 1.6 billion in the fourth quarter of 2020, representing an increase of 113.2% from 749.9 million in the third quarter of 2020. As of December 31st, 2020, we had a total of 181 employees. For more of our 2020 full year financial results, please refer to our earnings press release for further detail. And now for our business outlook. For the first quarter of 2021, the company expects deliveries to be between 10,500 and 11,500 vehicles, representing an increase of 262.6% to 277.1% from the first quarter of 2020. The company also expects the first quarter's total revenues to be between 2.94 billion to 3.22 billion, representing an increase of 245.9% to 278.8% from the first quarter of 2020. I will now turn the call over to the operator to facilitate our Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now begin the question and answer session. And for your questions, please press star and the number 1 and wait for your name to be announced. To cancel the request, please press the pound or hash key. And for the benefit of all participants on today's call, please limit yourselves to 2 questions. And if you have additional questions, you can re-enter the queue. If you're going to ask a question in Chinese, please follow it up with English translation. Once again, for your questions, please press star and the number 1 and wait for your name to be announced. First question comes from the line of Fei Fang of Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead. Line is open.
好，谢谢。管理层大家晚上好。恭喜公司亮丽的这个4季度的业绩。我这边有2个问题。首先呢，我们看到1季度的指引，这个预计的交付量环比也是下降的，然后包括刚刚过去的这个1月份销量也有所下滑，请公司介绍一下这里边的原因。第二个呢，我们看到这个上海市最近出台了2023年对这个混动的新能源汽车，包括 PHEV 和 EREV 只再继续提供免费的绿牌的政策支持。 那请管理层谈一下如何看待对理想汽车的这个影响。Let me just translate for myself very quickly. My first question is about the sequential decline of the first quarter volume guidance. Can management elaborate on the decline? What drives it on the demand or supply side? Second question is about the recent CarPlay policy from the Shanghai government. The city obviously announced it will no longer provide green plate to plug-in vehicles effective in 2023. Can you talk about your view on this and your projected impact on forward performance? Thank you.
Thank you, Fang Fei. This is Kevin. I'll answer your questions. Your first question. We think a modest month-over-month decline does not mean that our sales are encountering a bottleneck. Single model sales of over 5,000 per month still demonstrate that our Li One is very competitive. Deliveries in January 2021 were 5,379, and in December was 6,126. On average for these 2 months were 5,753. These numbers are in line with our prior growth expectations. We think that during the Chinese Spring Festival in February and also the upcoming Chinese Lantern Festival, our sales will be affected by the seasonality for sure. In addition, considering the impact of COVID-19 in northern China, we are putting out a relatively conservative delivery guidance for the first quarter of 2021. We are confident that with the expansion of our retail store and the effective control of the pandemic, our sales will gradually increase. About your second question about Shanghai. The policy change in Shanghai was within our expectation, with an implementation time that is even later than we expected. Also, we believe the details of this policy and its implementation may change in the coming 2 years. We keep constant communication with the Shanghai local authorities. The implementation of this policy in 2023 will actually encourage users to purchase EV and the PHEV and also EREVs in advance. We expect that the demand for EREV and PHEV will in fact reach a peak in 2022. On the other side, Shanghai only accounts for 9% of our total deliveries in 2020, and its policy change will have a relatively small impact on our company as a whole. Cities without license restriction account for more than 55% of our accumulated deliveries by the end of 2022. Yeah. So the distribution is very healthy. Yeah. We are also accelerating the R&D of our BEV platform and the launch of the BEV model, which is expected in 2023. Thank you. That's all my answers.
Kevin, that's very helpful. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Joey Su of Morgan Stanley. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
管理层晚上好，我是 Tim， 摩根士丹利这边。首先谢谢您的时间，也恭喜公司取得这个亮眼的4季度的业绩。那我这边2个很快的问题。第一个问题就是想请教一下，就是今年渠道开设是不是公司有任何的指引？那另外就是公司针对单店的销量，那是否仍旧可以维持一家店，比如说接近100余辆的一个经营效率？那第二个问题呢，是有关于管理层怎么看待就近来包含百度、苹果、小米这些科技公司进军造车，那这是否会对目前国内这边电动车或者是自动驾驶市场造成一个结构性的一个颠覆？So let me quickly translate my questions. My first question, can management team share the official guidance regarding the numbers of stores we plan to open in 2021? With the broader sales network, we still keep the great operating efficiency and keep average monthly sales per store at around 100 units. My second question is about the competitive landscape. We saw a lot of tech companies step into EV market, like Baidu, Apple, Xiaomi. So what kind of impact or disruption do you think these new entrants could bring to the EV and the autonomous driving market, and what would be the implication to Li Auto? Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. This is Kevin. I will try to answer your first question about the sales efficiency. I think the company has already, our company has already entered the second strategic cycle, in which we will launch more models in the coming years. Therefore, we will not take the sales efficiency of 100 vehicles per store as a single target. Considering to keep the store sales efficiency in a relatively healthy level, we will more aggressively increase our retail stores this year, starting from this year and beyond, to prepare for the launch of our multiple models starting from 2022. Li Xiang, do you want to comment on the second question?
理想，那我下一个问题，这个新的这个科技企业然后进军这个智能车领域，怎么来看的？我觉得基本上这样的，就是任何一个科技企业，我讲是国内的哈，因为苹果的具体的细节我们确实不了解，它保密工作做得非常的好。那我觉得任何一个这个新的科技企业然后进入这个智能车这个领域，其实从组建团队，然后到市场调研，然后到立项，到正式研发，然后到实验，到生产，到工厂制造，再到交付市场，我觉得比较理性的来讲，要想做一个好的产品，真的需要3年的时间，尤其是做第一款产品或者第一代产品的时候。因为大家也可以看一下这个造车新势力，其实最开始几十家造车新势力，大部分快速出车的企业，然后全都折了，因为那些快速做出来的车并没有什么竞争力。对，那后边都是很耐心的在做车的，然后其实推出了好的产品。对，那如果是这样的话，大家看到就是经过这样的研发时间，再加上至少需要1年的，然后市场的验证，基本上可能就是4年时间过去了。那大家可以想一下4年以后，然后理想汽车会发展成什么样子？我觉得第一呢，就从销量上而言和用户规模上而言，如果看到2024年结束，我认为我们会有1年大几10万辆的销量，对，然后以及可能有这个非常大的用户的这个规模和品牌的一个积累了。那第二呢，然后从实打实的一些基础的建设上面，那到了2024年，我们会有上千家的服务网点，然后给用户提供全面的服务。同时呢，我们自己的然后工厂，对，还有我们的整个供应链，也能够为我们后边然后突破100万辆，然后提供非常好的然后基础的这个支持能力。第三呢，是到了这个2024年的时候，那大家可以看到，那我们在第2个战略周期，我们会有非常丰富的产品，对，从15万一直到50万的一个完整的覆盖，对，向用户提供一个全面的服务，而产品和技术也都会变得非常非常的成熟。对，那我觉得我们非常敬仰非常敬仰也非常欢迎这些科技企业进入这个行业。对，但是呢，其实然后这个时间确实对我们然后几家新势力是更有利的。对，就当科技企业新进入科技企业完成从0到1的阶段的时候，其实我们几家包括理想汽车，尤其我们自己，然后已经进入到从1到10的高速的增长阶段。对，那这是我们的基本的观点。
Okay, for the benefit of those who do not speak Mandarin, this is Kevin. Let me try to translate what Li Xiang just described. So first of all, Li Xiang believes that it will take about 3 years for any company to develop a car from scratch, from setting up the team, project initiation, R&D testing, and product launch. It also will take another actual 1 year to test the car in the market. So right now we have already, Li Auto has already completed all these 3 and entered the 3rd phase of strategic cycle. So in the coming 3-4 years, which we are ahead of those new entry companies, we will accelerate the speed of our development to build out our competitive advantage. We think by 2024 we will have the three major competitive advantages compared to those newcomers. First is the market share and the user base we already gained by then. It will be nearly 500,000 to 1 million. Yeah. Second advantage we'll have is our sales and service channel. By then we should already have our target is to have more than 1,000 retail stores. And also our factory capacity, our supply chain capacity, and also our charging infrastructure will all become a competitive advantage for us. Last thing is also very important is that by then our product portfolio will be much bigger, and we'll have both EREV portfolio and high voltage BEV portfolio, which will give us a big advantage over the new entry companies. So we respect those who want to enter this industry very much, but we think the timing is on our side. We already past the 0 to 1 phase, and we are already in the 1 to 10 phase, and we are accelerating our new product R&D and launch. All right.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Mr. Li. Thanks for the great caller. Thanks.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Paul Gong of UBS. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my questions. Basically, I have two questions. First one is related to the pure electric vehicle or the BEV technology. You have already changed your strategy. You have accelerated your BEV development during the past several months, I can see. And you have announced the Whale and Shark platform for it. And you are focused on the high voltage and the fast charging. Can you share with us more details, especially on the technology and the roadmap and the timeline of this BEV? And what does Whale and Shark mean? Does Whale means bigger space, bigger room, and Shark means faster acceleration and higher speed? How shall we understand these two platforms? My second question is regarding to the margin guidance for 2021. Obviously, at this moment, you have been achieving pretty decent high teens of the gross margin and highly close to break even on the OP margin. But given you already have enough financial resources and you probably need higher market share or higher volumes to build up the branding as well as a cumulative user base, will you strategically choose to focus on a lower margin for 2021 in exchange of a higher market share? 简单的翻译一下吧，就是说第一个问题是关于这个纯电动的技术路线的。就我们看到，就是理想上市以来也都加快了纯电动的研发然后着重于高压和那个快充，然后现在又有这个鲸鱼和鲨鱼两个平台能否多分享一下这些的技术细节是不是就说鲸鱼就是那个空间大一些，然后鲨鱼就是加速猛一些，还是应该怎么去理解这一块以及就时间表的问题第二部分是关于这个毛利率和净利率和那个经营利润率的一个2021年的目标，因为现在这一刻的话，就你们的那利润率还是挺高的在2021年是否会就是战略性的选择低一点的利润率，而选择高一点的那个市场份额，在这个价和量的平衡当中，就如何思考就这个利润率的目标问题谢谢。
Paul 你好，我是李想，我来回答这个第一个问题。对，那就是我觉得之所以使用高压纯电平台，我觉得最核心的目的还是让整个的充电体验和充电的速度、充电的效率能够大幅的提升。因为要想规模性的替代燃油车， 其实最重要的是要整个的补能的体验和补能的效率，然后能够接近燃油车。所以呢，其实我们从公司建立之初就一直其实在研究，然后关于超快充的。我们认为其实无论是国家接下来的整个法规的发布，也还是技术，其实已经达到了相对成熟的一个阶段，所以我们会加速自己的这个纯电动的然后研发的速度。在整个的高压纯电平台上，其实最核心的是4个层面的技术。我觉得第一个是电池的充电费率要达到4C 及4C 以上，同时还保证电池的寿命和电池的稳定性、安全性，然后要做得非常好。在这方面，其实我们虽然会使用跟供应商的产品，但是呢，我们自己也会投入大量的研发，和供应商一起来研发，因为这个和以往的这种1C 啊、2C 的电池的需求和安全性要求是不一样的。第二点是整个电驱动系统，那必须得上碳化硅了。那同时呢，整个的这个这些电气设备还有电机的效率也都会变得不一样。那第三个是热管理系统，因为这个400千瓦的快充不能是只是存在一个瞬间，对，是尽可能的，然后让整个充电速度保持在较高的功率上。所以这时候对于一辆车散热成为了一个最大的体验，最大的一个挑战，所以热管理非常的关键。那也包含在面对这种零下20度、零下25度这种超低温的那个天气情况下，那包括这二氧化碳的热泵空调系统，也都是我们技术研发的根本。所以这是这个第三个热管理的部分。然后最后呢是非常非常重要的是这个高功率的充电网络，对，那要达到500安，然后以及400千瓦这样的充电网络，对，我觉得包含整个的充电的设备什么的都是我们自己来研发的。对，最终希望你用户能实现10到15分钟，然后充满80%的，然后这样的一个补能的一个体验。对，那同时呢，包含由于商业效率会非常高，所以呢，除了国家会有公共的或者会有官方公共的这种充电设施以外，我们自己也会投资去建立大量的充电设施。对，所以这是这个技术的部分。那从发布时间上而言呢，那从2022年开始，然后理想汽车每年至少会发布2款新的产品交付到市场上去，那并且我们在2023年向用户交付然后纯电系列的产品，所以这是一个明确的一个时间点。对，同时呢，产品的覆盖也会更加广泛。今天我们只覆盖了30到35万的价格区间，那接下来我们会非常有效的把15万到50万的价格区间进行一个完整的覆盖，每年推出的产品。对，同时呢，在面向未来呢，我们还是坚信，然后我们最核心的然后一个动力和任务就是去能够有效的替代燃油车。所以这个第二代增程电动，包含我们的高压纯电的技术，这2个平台的产品我们都会这个丰富起来。对，然后通过这2种最有效的、最好的用户体验，对，然后去加速，然后更多的用户由燃油车转化成智能电动车。对，所以这是大概我们的一个规划。
OK， thank you。
英语和鲨鱼。
英语鲨鱼。我觉得以后的车，我们在做这个 BEV 的时候，形态不会走传统汽车的这种形态了。对，那我觉得其实鲸鱼的理念就是我们希望，然后用户的选择，他希望获得一个更大的空间。对，然后鲨鱼的话，其实他希望获得更好的性能。
Okay. This is Kevin. I'll translate. I'll try to translate a lot of content. So first of all, we have been developing our high voltage BEV platform for some time, and our focus is to be able to enable our customer to replenish the energy with very high speed. This is the mission we give to us starting from the beginning of this company. And now we believe with the technology and also with the standard that the Chinese government and all authorities are planned, right now is in the right timing to start to develop this product and try to introduce it into the market very soon. So to achieve this high voltage, ultra fast speed charging platform, there are 4 fundamental technologies we have to develop. The first, of course, is the high C-rate battery. We are working with our partners on the 4 4 times charge C-rate battery. This is not a product we directly buy from our supplier. We developed it together with our partners. Second is, of course, the very high efficiency e-power train system. I think at the core of this solution is SiC technology. The third thing is about the thermal system. As you can imagine, we are facing 2 issues. One is when we charge this car with very high speed, the heat we need to manage. That requires a very sophisticated thermal system. On the other hand, to make sure the user experience is very good, even in a very low temperature, we also need to have our thermal system can cater the need when they're using low temperature. And one example is, for example, our R&D team is working on the CO2 thermal as a cold medium solution for the thermal system. The last technology, of course, is a high power charging network. Our target is to enable 300 to 500 kilometers range within 10 to 15 minutes. That's what we call also the 400 kW high power charging network. Because of the ultra fast charging speed, the business model start to become viable for real commercial charging station, which means that the charging business will become profitable. So therefore, we also have a plan to start to build our own HPC high power charging networks. So from the product launch plan, starting from 2022, we will launch at least 2 new products each year onward, and the first BEV product will be launched in 2023. On the other hand, we'll cover a wider price range with our portfolio. Now our plan is to cover price range from 150,000 RMB to 500,000 RMB. So overall, our target is to accelerate the replacement of ICE cars. And we have 2 solutions. Both are very good, EREV solution and the BEV solution. Lastly, to answer Paul's question about the Whale and Shark. The Whale platform is car form that with more space in the car, and for Shark, as you can imagine from its name, the performance of this platform will be higher. All right.
Hi, Paul. This is Johnny. I will answer the GP and the question. You can see 2020, the full year gross margin is around 16%. So for this year, 2021, we expect gross margin between 19% to 20% due to the increased volume with lower BOM and also the manufacturing overhead improvement. But for the net profit side, we don't want to because we are still increase the investment in R&D and also the expansion of our network. We as Kevin mentioned, we will accelerate that. So we don't want to give any guidance on that. And also, you should realize the net profit in the fourth quarter is due to the short-term investment income, which is the Li Cai in China. So it's Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from Bin Wang of Credit Suisse. Please go ahead.
各位领导好啊，谢谢给我这个机会啊。那我的第一个问题呢是关于这个智能车啊，想问问看今年呢我们在智能化上有没有一些事迹或里程碑啊？同时呢就是 投资者很关心怎么证明我们理想汽车能够赶下或超过，比如说特斯拉呀、小鹏呀、蔚来这样的公司哈。这是我的第一个问题。第二个问题是想问问看跟进一下这个线下开店的，因为刚才好像没有提到今年的店的数量嘛，之前好像有个指引是120家哈，不知道这有没有变化？同时如果120家的话，那就跟去年年底是翻倍了哈，60家到120家，那这样的话能不能假设今年的销量也是会翻倍啊？那我稍微翻译一下。My question is about the smart car issues because this year any milestone or event will happen for the smart car technology for Li Auto. Meanwhile, how can you prove you can be catch up or even better compare your key competitors such as Tesla, NIO, and Exxon? That's the first one. The second one is about the dealer network. You just mentioned your expansion of the dealer network. Previously, guy maybe go to 120 shops this year compared to early this year should be double. Can I assume when the dealer network double, the volume, sales volume could also double as well? Thank you.
So I would like to take over the first question. This is Kai speaking. Regarding the plan in 2021, so we will spend more money on R&D. It is the year for preparation of our in-house, brand new, scalable, and upgradable system architecture, covering next generation intelligent cockpit, autonomous driving, car computing platform, and our own operating car operating system, which will be released in 2022. Of course, in meanwhile, similar features offered by our competitors, plus some brand new features will be provided to our customers for sure. From engineering resource point of view, we will double size of our total R&D staff, as we mentioned. So building a Shanghai R&D center is part of this expansion. So regarding competition, we have confidence to prove ourselves on efficiency again, as we did financially last year. So we believe with fast expansion of our R&D, exciting news regarding our in-house technology like autonomous driving can be unveiled soon. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Kevin. Thank you, Wang Bin. For the sales network, our company has already entered the second phase, as just now I mentioned, that with the Li Auto brand increasingly accepted by users. In fact, we are changing gear. Yeah, we are adjusting our store expansion strategy accordingly. Yeah. So this year, our goal is to reach 200 retail stores in this year, covering 100 cities. This is our plan. As you can see, this is a relatively aggressive plan. The expansion of our sales network will lead to increased sales for sure, and also the brand enhancement. I think that behind this plan is that we are preparing us for the new model launches in 2022 and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Lei Wang of CICC for the next question. Please go ahead.
大家好，我是中金公司王雷。想先恭喜一下这个很好的一个业绩，包括很强劲的一个现金流。我第一个问题呢是关于这个海外的这个战略的，然后第二个问题是关于我们电池的这个技术路线的。因为我们看到像我们的一些竞争对手商也开始在挪威交车，或者是有这个计划去这个欧洲的市场。原来呢我记得我们提过说这个海外市场不是我们的这个 priority， 对吧？但是我不知道现在有没有改变我们的这个战略，特别是考虑到欧洲现在的新能源车的渗透率特别高。第二个问题呢，想问 CTO 王凯先生的，就是特斯拉 Model 3包括比亚迪汉现在也在用铁锂电池，那我们有没有考虑到说这个用铁锂而不是用这个3元电池？但如果最后有时间的话，还想问一下我们全年的一个这个销量指引啊。Very quickly to translate my questions. So I want to raise the first question regarding the overseas strategies, and another one to CTO Wang Kai regarding the battery roadmap, if that's okay. So it was reported that several competitors either have started deliveries in Norway or has the plan for European market as well? I believe the overseas expansion was not part of our plan, but I was not sure whether you have changed your mind, especially considering the high penetration rate of the new energy vehicles in Europe. And the second battery question wants to go to Mr. Wang Kai, the CTO. We have noticed that Tesla Model 3 and also BYD Han has been already using the LFP lithium-ion batteries for cost saving. Have you also considered using LFP instead of the NCM batteries? And if we got some the time for the rest of the meeting, whether you can share what's the expectation or target for the deliveries over this year. Thanks.
Thank you, Wang Lei. This is Kevin. Let me take your questions. First of all, of course, we are committed to become a global leader of smart electric vehicle ultimately. So definitely we'll consider overseas market. In the past several years, our strategy is to focus on China market only. But at the same time, we are continuously monitoring the progress of the global market. And this year particularly, we will continue to increase our focus on research on the overseas market and initiate planning for the product and the sales channels for the overseas market, including establishing overseas offices. Definitely we'll go to overseas. For your second question about LFP, in fact, for our EREV platform, we have no plan to launch with lithium-ion phosphate batteries for two reasons. First of all, right now all the LFP on the market cannot meet our performance requirement because EREV has a different performance requirement compared with the BEV. Second is because the EREV use less kilowatt-hour of battery, so therefore even we use the LFP, the cost benefit will be not significant for us. And for the next step for our BEVs, definitely we are in the process researching at the development and developing both kind of batteries. For sure we'll consider LFP for our future BEV car models.
Mm-hmm. All right. And the last question for the expectations for the deliveries of this year.
I think it's too early to give that full year guidance, but we will expand our network as Kevin mentioned, and to reach 10,000 to 12,000 as soon as possible per month. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from Yu Xingbo of CITIC. Please go ahead.
谢谢管理层。我有两个问题。第一个呢是之前提到了到这个上海研发中心未来会有2000个员工，然后大概从时间序列上这是怎样的一个计划？然后从这2000个工程师或者是员工的这个分布上，大概在哪些方向上会有一个分布？那第二个呢，就是分布的一个比例吧。然后第二个问题呢，其实是想问一下，这个研发费，其实我们看到去年逐季的研发费的绝对规模是在增长的，但是因为销量的增长速度更快，所以我们看到逐季的研发费率是在被看薄或稀释的。那么我们如何去看待未来1-2年或者是中周期5年这2个维度下，研发费总规模的数据以及研发费率的一个比例？Thank you for giving me the chance. The first question comes from Shanghai Research Center. It is mentioned that there will be 2,000 staff there, and could you give us more detail about that? And the second question is about research R&D expense. We noticed the R&D expenses keep increasing. So what will be next 1 year or 2, or maybe 5 years, this 2 time range expectation for R&D expense? Thank you.
This is Kai speaking. Regarding the question about R&D activity, so the definition of Shanghai R&D Center it will be a mirrored configuration as Beijing R&D Center for more car models and also advanced R&D activities. Regarding the team of our, let's say, others, so altogether right now we have more than 300 engineers working for that, and we would like to reach to up to 600 in total end of this year. Yeah.
Yes. And this is Johnny. For the R&D, for 2020 is the early stage of our 2022's new model. So this year the R&D investment will increase to at least 3 billion RMB, and with increasing investment in autonomous driving and new models, we expect the R&D expense will reach $1 billion in 3 years. And among that, we believe half of the investments will, over half of the investments will be for the autonomous driving expenses. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. That's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And as we are reaching the end of our conference call, I'd like to turn the call over to the company for closing remarks. Ms. Janet Chang, please go ahead.
Sure. Thank you once again for joining with us today. If you have further questions, please feel free to contact Li Auto's Investor Relations team. Then that's all for today. Thank you and have a good one.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes the conference for today, and thank you for participating. You may now all disconnect.